Welcome back to Her Mindset Mentor, the podcast where we talk growth, grit, and getting real. I'm your host, Alethea Roth. I'm an ADHD and NLP life coach, psychology nerd, neuroscience geek, fierce believer in potential, and your new podcast bestie. If you're here, I already know you're not the type to settle. You're building something, you've got ambition, a fire in your belly, and probably 73 tabs open right now. This space, it's for you. And today, phew, are you in for a special treat? You know when someone walks into a room and their presence speaks before they do? That's today's guest. You know when someone walks into a room and their presence speaks before they do? Well, that's today's guest. Joining us is a man whose story is as powerful as his purpose. He is a life engineer, philanthropist, visionary entrepreneur, and a relentless community builder. His foundation is in faith. With Christ in his cornerstone, his life's mission is transformation. From grassroots hustles in Kabeja, King Williamstown, and Eastern Cape to growing into a force of leadership, legacy, and generational impact, he's a man on a mission and one you want to watch really closely. Today, let's welcome Ncedo Owen Pokolo. Welcome to Her Mindset Mentor.
Thank you, Alethea.
So excited to have you. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you today. How are you?
I'm doing great. I can do all things.
Yeah,
Great, I'm great. Yeah.
amazing. I want to kick off this conversation just with a little bit of a curveball, if we could. If someone else were introducing you in a room full of strangers, what would you want them to say about you?
I mean, whatever that I do, it consists of other people's lives. I'm that guy, always want to stretch out a hand, to reach out to help someone, you know. Being a life engineer, it's all about building something, of which I strongly believe that, through the mechanics, and mechanism of life, we all about building, building other people's stories, stretching a hand, to those, who really need help, So yeah, I'm a life engineer. I have, been a life engineer. Yeah.
I love that term, that concept. I've never heard it before. I'm familiar with life coach. I'm familiar with counselors, but life engineer, just tell me a little bit, how did you come about that term and concept? And how did you go about recognizing that you are a life engineer?
All right. I think like I have to mention this, like a part of what I do, also a life coach. I got to realize that like this number, it's quite a saturated space. Everybody, claims to be a life coach and all of that. Then I got to realize that, we are not doing much of our impact in terms of changing other people's stories, in terms of changing other people's lives and all of that. Then as I was sitting down the other time, then it was dropped in my spirit that now maybe I should call myself something different. What impressed me, about, the work of the engineers is, before they do anything, they would, make sure that they have calculative measure. For them to be able to put anything into perspective, they would do conditional assessment. For them to be able, they're driven by the purpose, they're driven by the outcome and all of that. So I think it's the same methodology that I'm using, to impact, other people and societies is through the same mechanism. So I was like, okay, the difference or the distinction between I, and other engineers is, I am, busy with other people's lives. So I am the life engineer.
I love that. That's incredible. I think I'm going to steal that and I'm going to use that. I really love it. I think that's something so fresh. It's such a fresh perspective. I think Life coaching, like you said, it's such a saturated industry. Everybody can claim to be a life coach because you don't need a qualification per se or certification, but you use your life experience to inform the coaching that you do. So I love the word engineer because it's so much deeper and it's so much more meaningful in terms of it speaks volumes of how you're looking under the hood and how you're actually calculating the steps
Yep.
to success, which I absolutely love. Thank you so much for that. I do want to go a little bit back, like to the beginning, if we can, just as a young boy growing up in King Williamstown or um, the Eastern Cape. Can you just tell us how how has that shaped your mindset and how has that impacted your journey growing up in the Eastern Cape?
Yeah, growing up in the Eastern Cape, I used to believe that um it's a disadvantage,
Mm.
because you go to bigger cities, then you get to realize that life is quite different to other places. As I've made mention that I spent 22 years in Cape Town, being born and raised, here in the Eastern Cape, that I could, spot the difference, between, the two cities. So, what actually shaped my life, it was more of my background. I had a very rough background. Coming from a background where there was a lot of social illnesses and, it was plagued by many things like violence, crime, and all of that. But, I had to come to a realization that, I'm on my own, and I have to do things, I have to make things work. As the philosopher, there's a quote, that I like to quote, that says that nothing will ever work until you work things out. I think that's what kept me, going all the time, looking back, because I knew deep down inside my heart that, there's, a part of me, that I need to work the work, so because nothing will ever work until things work out. And also as well, right at the back of my subconscious mind, there was something, that kept telling me that nothing will ever change until, I change certain things. Yes. So I knew that I was the chosen one, for the family. I was the chosen one for the community. I grew in a space where there was a lack of role models, people that I can look at, but I knew that one day I will be a role model, for others. So my life was shaped by it's a combination of many things, of other people's stories, other people's experience, my background, where I'm from, and also as well the collectives, of the community members, those, that were ensuring and making sure that, they're doing greater work for the community just to make sure that they're keeping us on the right course. And there was a lot of pressure that was coming, from left, right, and center because I'm the product of a single parenting. My father passed on when I was 3. Then my father, left my mom with 5 kids.
Sure.
So then she had to look after us, So yeah, I had to be different. I had to learn and to understand that I am different.
That's amazing. That's such an incredibly powerful story. And I can definitely see how all of those adversities
Yeah.
has shaped you into the person that you are today. And it informs so many of the decisions that you make and how you love to impact the community.
Yeah.
Um, and speaking of shaping, sometimes I think the most formative lessons come before the titles, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of that, before the business cards, before the fancy LinkedIn bios,
Mhm.
I want to know, what was your first hustle or first entrepreneurial spark? Can you remember?
Yeah, I can go back as like when I was, I think I was still in primary. There was an aunt, next door who was owning a fruit and vegetables store. So I'd go and help out, hoping that maybe I'll get something in return. So pack those vegetables. Sometimes I'd go and sell those vegetables. Then, she would make sure that she compensates us for that. So I've learned a lot from her because she was really a hustler, as back as like I think I was doing standard food.
Wow.
Those drinks stand for.
What's that?
And
11? 10? 10, 11, round about there?
yeah, it was like 10, 11. Yeah, 10, 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we will go and assist and pack those oranges, those cabbages, those onions, and all of that. Then in return, should make sure that she gives us money, for a lunchbox. So I think that's where the whole drive started. That I gotta keep on hustling.
That is so powerful. I think especially just going back to the previous question, where you were telling us about growing up with a single mom,
Yeah.
5 kids. I'm sure not having a dad played a big role in your personality and how your identity was formed, right? So just coming back to that, I want to talk about survival from going from surviving to building. Now, a lot of people tend to stay stuck in survival mode, but you didn't. You use everything to fuel your mission and your journey. And with that, I want to just know what was the one thing, or perhaps it was a number of things that really shifted your mindset from just making it to actually building something meaningful and intentional. Can you speak to that just a little bit?
Well, wow. I think it is not easy at all to tell you an honest, truth.
Yeah.
At some point, I felt like, I was stuck. And, I knew that, I had to do something about, the situation that I was, going through. Because first of all, I think, I was doubting myself. I had an issue of a low self-esteem.
Mm.
There was, self-hate involved. I was, actually discrediting myself a lot, you know. I didn't know that something good would come out of me,
Wow.
you know, because, at the back of my mind, I was always thinking that if my father was alive,
Mm.
life would be different, you know, that I had to embark to a certain level of understanding that my father is no more, he's not coming back, and I had to accept the reality, and find a way forward. Many of us, when you get stuck, through certain situations and challenges, it's really, hard for us to admit and to say that, maybe, there's things are not working out, because I'm actually overthinking this. Maybe, I have a role to play, out of this situation. So before everything, I had to challenge myself. I had to do some self introspection in terms of looking deep inside me.
Yeah.
Do I have anything to offer?
Mm.
How I perceive myself, on how I perceive the others.
Yes.
And also as well, I was driven by a purpose, by a goal. That at the end of the day, I really have to make things work for me and my family. I really had to create, a blueprint, not just for me, but for other people as well. It was all about changing the whole narrative, of the generation, that comes after me.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what has actually made me, to
A driving force.
the driving force, of knowing myself better, of thinking about myself better,
Mm.
of understanding that, for me to be able to get to certain places, I need to appreciate what I have and I need to make use of what I have, and in as much as it seemed that I did not have anything then,
Yes.
but I knew that I can talk to people, I'm a good boy, so then that has actually granted me an advantage, because it took me to many places, like even to places that I've never thought that I would get. I've been abroad, I've been around South Africa, I've been to big spaces and all of that, yeah, and one of the most dangerous, things, it's when you get to be afforded that opportunity, then you would still, that the same your background would keep on visiting you that you don't belong here.
Yes.
What are you doing here? What if things are going wrong?
Yeah.
Then you have to constantly keep on affirming yourself that look, I'm here now. Now that the fact that I'm here, I belong here.
It's like it's similar to imposter syndrome. You know,
Yeah,
you're shifting identities and you're moving into that next season, but you still feel that discomfort of the old identity.
yep,
And you're kind of shifting into the new identity, but that one's like still on your back there, and you're like, no, no, no. But it's about learning how to be unshakable, who you are.
yep.
Yeah, I love that so much. Thank you so much. Very insightful. Um, and just, I think, speaking of mindset, I think mindset is so important, but we can't ignore the barriers
Yeah,
that you had to overcome. And so I just want to spend a few moments talking to that, especially as a Black entrepreneur
yeah,
and a Black man entrepreneur
yeah.
in South Africa. I just want to know, like, if there has been any, which I'm sure there has there been any unspoken challenges? I think, especially when it comes to accessing capital, networks, and just holding up your credibility in the sector and in the field. Can you speak to that?
Um, being a black and entrepreneur, it's really not an easy thing because first of all,
Chocolate.
yeah, it's not just play because I mean there's no enough there are pockets, of how from the funding perspective and also from the administrative perspective. Okay. But I don't think it's enough, because it has been, I was reading something about 2 weeks ago, that most of the SMMEs, they're not growing in South Africa. Out of 10, it's only 3, that will make it. They keep on falling, and I that dip around that, then I got to learn that we don't have sufficient funding platforms,
Okay.
and secondly, we don't have enough support administratively or administrative support, which is your monitoring tool, your management tool. Yes, there are opportunities where you get a certain funding,
Yeah.
and also it has been proven that out of 10 businesses that are funded, it's only 2 businesses that will be able to make it through. Then the rest, will fail.
So 80% falls off the wayside at only 20%
Yeah,
have a success rate.
success rate.
Wow.
And so we don't have credible connections. We don't have credible, funding platforms.
I see.
We don't have credible network also as well. Because I strongly believe that, most, of these businesses, we have, great products,
Yeah.
but what's been lacking, it's the mentoring, nurturing, foundation and all of that. So it's quite challenging. Many people have started, businesses, they went back, to look for a job, because you get to realize as you're working that you're on your own, and you really have to push hard to make things work.
Wow. I think, yes. I think that's something that I've definitely speaking to a lot of entrepreneurs. That has definitely been the thread
Yeah.
through all the conversations is the lack of foundational support
Yeah.
and also just the know-how, the knowledge in terms of how to go about making sure that you're compliant, making sure that your the foundation is there and it's strong. So I think that's something that definitely needs to be
Yeah.
addressed. I think in the larger ecosystem. Then I just want to move on to, I just want to talk a little bit. We spoke about the barriers, we spoke about the challenges and just overcoming a couple of those.
Yeah.
Next, I just want to speak if there has been any pivotal moments for you throughout your journey or perhaps any breaking points. What can you tell me has been the biggest challenge for you to overcome and what has it taught you?
The biggest challenge is a challenge that I, ever had in my life. I had, a breakthrough when I was 22 years.
Okay.
I remember I made mention that we come from a rough background, that was, plagued, poverty, crime, drugs, and all of that. Now, I was very young and naive, now I have access, to money, access to good friends, well-known people and all of that. I really enjoy that. And I never imagined in my life that one day, I would find myself going back, to where I was, due to, there was still a lack of mentorship. When you are the first the person in your home to afford in life, or I don't want to say that okay, I would say that, when you're the first person to have money, in your whole entire family, it's kind of like even those that are supposed to nurture you or to guide you, they're too scared to tell you like an honest, answer that, look, you are derailing here. Yeah, I was living life, man, lavish life, comfortable life, and all of that. Then when I was, I think 28, 27, then things begin, to fall sideways for me. Then, I actually find myself, bankrupt again. I lost my cars, I lost my house, I lost my job. I lost everything,
Wow.
like everything. I had to get rid of my house. I had to look for a small
Wow.
a place. And also as well, even the furniture, I had to sell my furniture because I was living a very small
Living above your means. The lack of guidance and
lack of guidance and support, and I encourage like many families out there that, they should be able to be brave enough, like to mentor and, to be honest with their, kids, especially when they have access in these things, which is money and all of that. Even if they don't have money, they should be able to say that, look, I think now you're doing like a little bit of two. Yeah. So then that was like my biggest breaking down moment. I could not see myself again rising up,
mm-hmm.
because I think I went through depression in as much as the doctor did not diagnose me. But I could see that I was depressed. I had a lot of things. I had suicidal thoughts.
Wow.
This is what at some point. I remember the other time.
Button.
Yeah, I was just needed to be alone,
Yeah.
in a very dark space, like a lost. Yeah, then I remember the other time, like I was sitting. I think I had suicidal thoughts, and my mom called me out of no out of the blue. Then when she called me, she was like, "My son, are you good?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm cool." She's like, "No, I just want to tell you that no matter what you're going through, things are gonna be okay."
Wow.
Then I'm all down. I guess I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
Then I began to see like a different perspective, of life. Then I was like, look, man, I really have to start, because one of the things that is actually causing stagnation or delay in our lives, we are spending so much time, crying about your past, mourning your past, and
Living in that.
living in your past, and you despise of what you have.
Mhm.
I think I shared this with you like 2 days ago about the story of Moses.
Yes.
When the Bible says that like the Egyptians were advancing behind him, and he was surrounded by two tall mountains. Right in front of him, there was a Red Sea.
Yes.
And now the people are making noise that, look, why did you bring us here? Did you bring us this far to die?
Yes.
And Moses was crying to God, like, please do something, and God asked him a question that, what is it that you have in your hand? So many times, we forget what we have in our hand. Mourning the past, living in the past, you know, the past is gone.
Yeah.
It's always good sometimes to know, or to gauge yourself that
Yeah.
at least you have took a mileage, not to stay in your past. So then when I came to that realization that I'm here now, what is it that I still, have? What is it that I can use, in order for me to be able to gain that access again? I might not have the same network that I used to have, or the same group of people that I used to work with. That I started from there. Then the rest was history. Then I managed to, get my back on track.
Wow. That's incredibly powerful. And I think I don't think enough I don't think enough people give themselves credit
Yeah.
pulling themselves out of the dark place.
Yep.
I think it takes an incredible amount of mental, spiritual, and even physical
Yeah.
energy to be able to turn yourself and your life around.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to just get stuck
Yeah.
and to stay in that dark place and to feel like, you know what, depression is just easier when you're in the thick of it. But really well done. I think it's such an incredibly powerful story.
I think there's a quote that says that quick fixes increases the damage.
Sure.
And I kept that when I was going through that phase,
Mm.
because there were many opportunities that were presented to me. People they knew that I still got brains.
Yes.
People they knew that I still,
Want to take advantage of you.
yeah, and there were like offers that were made to me that I knew that they were not aligned with what I wanted to achieve. So then that quote, every time when I think about it, like quick fixes increases the damage.
Mm.
And one of the things that I've learned throughout that process, is the power of decision making. Some people they think that life is all about deciding.
Yeah.
Whether I like it or not, at some point we have to decide.
Yes.
And we need to learn, this thing like deciding not to decide. It's a decision on its own.
You are 100.
You have decided not to decide.
That's
And for every decision, that you make and for every decision that you take, there will be repercussion
yes.
or a payback,
Yes.
of that. So now I knew that, I had to make the right decision this time around, and thank God because like some of the people, that I was actually living life with, they're not good people for me, but I was too blinded, because we were living a careless life outside. Careless life, then I had to come back to my senses. Like I thank God because it's him who pulled myself out of that darkness. So if it wasn't for him, I'm sure that I could have perished.
Sure. Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredibly powerful. I'm grateful that you did not perish, and I'm grateful that you're here today. Um, I know we touched on earlier, we spoke a little bit about mentors and role models.
Yes.
And you mentioned that there wasn't really any role models growing up. Now, I want to know from you, did that kind of force you to become the role model that you didn't have?
I am a template, on someone. Today, when people they see me, even in my community, where I'm from,
Mm.
when they see me, I am sure they're seeing a lot.
Yeah.
They're seeing a living testament.
Happened.
And I'm not the same man that I was, a couple of years back. And it's still one of the things, that I'm actually striving for, to be a better man constantly. When you meet me 2 weeks from now, I'll be another man,
Better version of
better version of me. I will keep on, revealing layers and layers, 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 layers,
you.
So I'm very much sounder, and I knew that, the fact that we were lacking role models, I told myself and I've made a vow that, I really have to be somebody else, a role model. But it's a good thing to do. It really feels my heart and fulfills my heart to see someone thriving and to see someone flourishing.
Yes.
Up until this very day, I always tell my wife that, no matter where you are, please stretch a hand to
Yeah.
someone.
Definitely. You don't lose anything from yourself if you're lending a hand to someone else.
You gain.
Yes.
Instead,
If
you gain.
anything, you can.
Because when that person comes to where you're standing, guess what will happen to you? You go to the next level.
Yeah.
So that's how
Ascension. And speaking of community, we touched on so many different key elements now contributing to a more violent ecosystem, right? There's unemployment rates, there's drugs, there's gangsterism, there's all these negative things that are contributing to our youth currently.
Yeah.
And I want to find out from you, are we doing enough for the ecosystem of young entrepreneurs in the Eastern Cape? And if not, what needs to shift?
We are not doing enough at all. We are not doing enough at all. Because I think sometimes it is the intention that one has, to become a businessman. Some of them is just about, them accessing money and live a lavish life,
Yeah.
especially here in Gadeha. Some people they have this. mindset of demanding, things, not of working.
Yeah.
People that are too lazy to work, they don't want to go out there and create opportunities. I once said this to someone that sometimes, if you don't have a door, maybe you are the door.
Okay.
Or maybe, if you cannot open the door, then you must know that maybe it's locked for a reason. So we need to learn to understand that, being an entrepreneur means that you have to go out of your comfort zone. You have to constantly challenge yourself, of which that's what is lacking to many and to many entrepreneurs. Because with these planning programs, they sort of like creating a lazy mindset to other people, because they know for the fact that if I can tick all the boxes
Mhm.
and get that plan, I'll be able to buy myself a Gucci sneaker.
Yeah.
I'll be able to buy myself Louis Vuitton.
Mm.
you know, then they won't retain the same money, they won't circulate or invest the money to the business.
Yes.
Goes back to what I mentioned earlier, that there is a lack of mentorship programs. There's a lack also as well of incubating programs, where all these talents, skills, they'll be able, to be nurtured in a certain way so that we can be able to create or to mold, a better craft.
Yeah.
At the moment, that is not in place.
A more sustainable ecosystem.
More sustainable ecosystem. At the moment, there is no ecosystem at all. We just go and, get money, then that's it. Then tomorrow, you're looking for a job.
Yeah.
So that's why, also there is a high level of unemployment,
Mm.
because even the kind of businesses that we do, we are not, changing that number of saying that I'm up for employment, you know, and constantly remind yourself that you have to be sustainable in what you do, because for the fact that, you have families in your business,
Mm.
that they have to put the bread on the table.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's all about impact.
And
It's how can you create impact for people behind you?
yeah,
Yeah. I think that's a big part of it. Amazing. Super. Tell me, Lido, we spoke so much about your history, where you've come from, your business, your travels. Um, is there anything that anybody misunderstood or misunderstands about you as a person? Tell me about that.
I have a very intimidating character. I have a very intimidating character. Many people, they think that I'm unapproachable.
It's just that powerful presence of yours, I think that.
Yes, so you might misunderstand me until we begin to have a conversation, and I have learned that over the years that I'm not easily approachable, and there's nothing I can do about it. So in such an extent that now, I always like to establish a conversation first, so that people can feel comfortable to
Yeah.
come to me. Otherwise, yeah, I'm not easily approachable at all. And I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing.
I think it's good. I think it's definitely good. I think it's really nice when people have a certain idea about you and then they meet you and it's like, oh, actually,
Yeah.
that's not who you actually are. Let me change my perception of who you are. And I think that's always nice when your personality and your tenacity
Yeah.
and your experience confuse people. Let it confuse them.
Yeah.
Let it confuse them.
I'm a big fan of quotes. There's one that says, "You are what comes out in a squeeze."
Mm. Saying that again.
If you had an orange, then we need to squeeze you a bit so that, if you had an orange, you need to squeeze you a bit. And what we're expecting is an orange juice,
Yes.
nothing else,
No.
than that.
Right.
So sometimes like we just need to give people a benefit of doubt. Let's stop this thing of like judging people. Just establish a conversation and you get to see
Let that person present who they are to you in that moment.
power and fire.
Yes.
Yeah, powerful.
Super.
Yeah.
Little and tell me, when all the noise settles, how do you define success?
I used to think that success is about money, that we're having a lot of money. But now, if success is about money, what about the steps that you took before you get successful? Now I'm learning to understand that success is about steps that you take towards the purpose.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of celebrating every step that I take.
Yeah.
You might not understand and realize how tough it was for me to be able to take just one step.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm learning is, succession to be successful, it's about taking one step at a time. And we need to learn to celebrate every step, because now if we're saying that success is about money,
Mm.
what if maybe tomorrow that money goes away?
You.
Nothing will be left out of you. And also, we need to learn to create a blueprint trail behind you. Because, I mean, whatever that we are doing, you are somebody else's mirror. Somebody's watching you.
Yes.
Somebody's looking at you. Whether you're doing a right thing or a wrong thing, but someone is learning from you,
Modeling what you're doing.
modeling what you're doing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So every day, I always pray to God, like, God, make me to be a good dude today,
Sure.
so that I can impact, you know,
And inspire.
and inspire someone behind me. You will be shocked, like people like wow, people who know you and people who are following you, the ones that you know and the one that you don't.
Sure.
So it's always, good to compose yourself at all the times, like, not let me behave.
And to just keep that in the back of your mind. They are
Think that you watching, like, yeah, people are watching you,
learning from you.
learning from you, whether they're doing the right thing
Or the wrong.
or the wrong thing. People are watching.
And they learning from you.
Yeah,
And if you did that, I can do that too.
yeah,
Whether that's the right thing or the wrong thing. And it's usually the wrong thing that they're quick to copy
yeah,
and not so much the good things.
yeah. No, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. So we would really have to put that at the back of our mind that you are somebody's shadow.
Mm.
Somebody's walking right behind you. So watch every step that you take.
To close off on the previous question that you answered so beautifully, I want to know from you, what does success feel like to you now? And has that definition changed over the years?
It feels good because I've worked for everything. I've earned, you know, this success. It was not an inheritance. It's something that I know for the fact that, it worth everything. Like, as I made mention that it's all about taking one step after the other,
Yeah.
so it feels good now because like back in the days, there were certain things that were actually handed over to me, so I did not understand the value, and the substantial value or the sentimental value of that. It was just handed over. But now that I have every reason to wake up at 5 o'clock and begin my daily routine, it feels good. It feels meaningful for me that I have achieved this, through hard work and dedication.
Mm, incredible. So it definitely sounds like the definition of success has evolved over the years
Yep.
from it just being, oh, I earn this much or I have this amount of money in my bank account. And what I hear you saying now is it's in the action that you take, it's in the decision that you make, it's in the steps that you take on a daily basis
Yeah,
that defines success for you. Am I right?
you are 100% correct.
Fabulous.
You
That's
are.
insightful. Definitely something that I think having success mean something so meaningful.
Yeah.
It definitely informs the way that you decide and the way that you move on a daily basis. I definitely think so. So beautiful. And if there was someone listening today that's just getting started,
Yeah.
that perhaps is feeling a little feeling a little lost, feeling a little stuck, what's one piece of advice you would love to give them?
I think self knowing is self worth.
Mm,
Know yourself.
that awareness.
Yeah, awareness, be aware, of your own space.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it really doesn't take much for you to be able to change things around. Sometimes it will take you, to move away from a certain environment for certain things to change.
Well,
You know, the fact that, things, they remain the same, it shows that, you have not been moving, you're stagnant, you're stuck.
that's
You can't
definition.
get the same view all the time. When you're in motion, the view will keep on changing.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that, life, in order for you to be able um, to make success in certain things, it's all about moving, move out of your situation, move out of bad company, move out of, bad environment and out of that. Then you cultivate growth. Someone once said that there is no growth, in comfort.
Mm. So true.
So for you to be able to grow, you need to move. Keep on moving. No matter how hard it is, move.
Love that.
Sometimes you feel challenged, because some step some steps are not the same as others. There are those that are, a little bit challenging, and are those that are tough, and there are those that are easy.
And some are clear,
And some are
some
clear.
so uncertain.
Yeah. And but all those steps are important.
Mm.
You know,
Okay.
all those steps are important. So self-awareness is very much important. You must know, to an extent of even knowing the material that you're made of. Know yourself to the core. No surprises, if a person tells you something that you're not, if you know yourself, you won't be challenged by that.
That having that integrity in your identity.
Yeah, yeah. So listen also as well to your inner voice. Believe in you. Affirm yourself as often as you can. Because one of the things that is actually breaking us down is a lack of confidence. We're not confident about what you're doing, not because of we don't have capacity and capabilities, of doing what we want to do. But it's the fear
Yes.
of unknown.
Yes.
Fear of unknown has actually aborted many dreams. you know, it's the fear. And I guess that, that will remain, the same until
Yes.
you do something about it.
Yes.
Fear will remain fear, until you overcome, until, you change that,
And you move out of that.
you move out of that. So fear, face, your challenges and deal them one by one.
Amazing.
There's no formula of success. You create your own. And there's a reason why there's no formula of success. It's simple because you have to build your own formula. Your formula might not work for me because we are on different spaces, and we're on different pathways.
Yes.
But what is important is create your own formula.
Mm.
Whatever works for you works for you.
That's incredibly, incredibly powerful. And speaking of creating your own pathways, here at Her Mindset Mentor, we love talking legacy. All right. So it's not just about what we build, but it's what we leave behind. So I want to know from you, what is the impact that you hope to leave behind? What's the legacy that you are hoping to leave behind to your community and those behind you?
Blueprint,
Mm.
you know, blueprint, generational wealth,
Yes,
a nation of people or a nation of generation that is fully aware of themselves.
that's so beautiful.
It took me a while, to know who I am because people had different definitions about me. And at some point, I believed them because I was vulnerable. I did not know who I am. One of the things that is causing so much delay, so much stagnation, is the identity crisis. When you are not aware of yourself, when you do not know you, when you do not understand you, that is the biggest problem. And it will cause stagnation because you'll go this way today and you'll go that way. You'll be like a reed, you go where the winds blow. Not firmly rooted. Not firmly rooted, until you become aware of yourself. So what I want to leave behind, is the generation of people who are aware of themselves. I always tell my kids, even my daughter, I will tell her when she goes to school that you're looking beautiful, that's great. You are. I'm the biggest fan, of trying compliments, and I guess that, you'll never give what you don't have. That's what I have in common. I like to compliment, I like to say, well done, So, I'm saying those are positive affirmations, you know, um, deliberately because I know for the fact that, at some point she'll be full. Then she'll understand her worth and her value. I did not know my value. I did not know my worth. And that has actually procrastinated a lot of things in my life. Was a lot of delay. A lot of delays. Self identity. How you perceive yourself, it matters. How you see yourself, it matters. How you also as well see other people, it matters. Remember, you cannot manifest what you don't see. Sure. We are manifesting of what we see. You remember when you were still kids, then we play toys and out of that, then you say that that's my beautiful house. Yes, yes. That's my beautiful car. And there were those that were not good, to say, to pick and say that this is my beautiful wife. Yes, yes. Now I was telling my brother, was like, no, I'm living my life. It's the manifestation of what I was saying. Because I used to be so good to say that that's my car. Yes. That's my family. That's my, so we gotta we gotta learn, to see. Oh, the question of the day would be, what is it that you see about yourself? Or what do you see, in front of you? Mm. If you see nothing, then you'll manifest. Mm. That's so good. It matters what you see, Mm. you know. And remember, there is a reason why I always say that in as much as we are given names, Mm-hmm. you know, there is a reason why we're not introduced to the world. Tell me more about that. There's a reason why you are not introduced because you have to introduce yourself. Let me introduce myself. You have to introduce yourself, man. I'm that. Yes. Yeah. Look today. It's a title that was not given by anyone. I'm saying I'm a life engineer. That's my introduction, whether you believe it or not. Yes. You believe it. I believe it. That's all that. And if you don't believe it, it's not my business. Yes. It's yours. Yes. And let it remain so. Yes. So what is important is, we really have to develop bravery, confidence in everything that we do. Whether things are working out or not working out, if the wheels, are falling off, and people are, people always talk, Yes. Then people are saying things. They say, no, just give me a minute, it's a matter of time. I'm still busy fixing my wagon. Yes. I'll be on the go. Just give me 2, 3 minutes. Yeah. So that's confidence. So people that are lacking confidence, God is affording an opportunity every day to write your own book, to write your own script in your own way, to introduce yourself, you know, in your own way, and the people, when they're coming, people of yesterday, when they're coming today and they're trying to introduce, say, no, do not deny me, this opportunity, let me introduce myself. And, do not think that I do not know myself when I'm introducing myself different today. Maybe tomorrow, I might come with another definition because I am constantly evolving. Evolving, yes. Constantly growing. Definitely. Yeah. I want to ask you just on that point, if there was someone who is and in the process, Yeah. of
learning a little bit more of who they are, what fires them, who they are in their identity. Is there a process or a couple of questions, or what would you say is the best place to start your journey on introspection?
Mm. I think the first one is to actually be honest to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do not lie to yourself. I don't even condone it to lie to other people, but do not lie. Be honest to yourself. Assess the situation, assess the environment, assess yourself as a person. Introspection requires honesty, a high level of honesty. You cannot introspect yourself if you are not willing to be honest to you and admit when you've made mistake. There was something that we used to do, when I was doing business management. It's called SWOT analysis.
Yes.
And I think I once shared this to you that I took that as a monitoring tool in my life. SWOT analysis. Hey, knowing your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and your threat. You need to be able to know your strength. It becomes a problem when a person does not know your strength because your strength speaks to your position. If you know your strength, you know where you would position yourself. Now, many people they're just fumbling that all over the places because they do not know their strength.
Yeah.
Many people, they're envious because they do not know their strength. And the most crucial part, also know your weaknesses. You need to admit your weaknesses because at the end of the day, you need to convert your weaknesses into your strength
Yes.
and opportunities. Not every opportunity is your opportunity. And the sooner we learn that, the better. You know, you should be able to identify your own opportunities. If you are able to identify your own opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
you'll know how to create your own opportunities.
Yes.
Threats. You must know what's threatening your life, what's threatening your purpose, what's threatening your vision, and run if you can.
Sure.
You know. So and also as well, one of the most important thing, you need also as well to learn that you are different for a reason.
Mm. Your uniqueness.
Your uniqueness, embrace that. I mean that's your killer, punch.
Your
Your
uniqueness.
uniqueness.
Yes.
There are certain things that won't be done until you become unique. There has to be something distinctive about you.
Sure. Gotta step into that power.
Yeah.
Power.
On power. So many people they're not powerful because of they want to embrace their uniqueness. They just want to be like others.
Cut and paste.
Cut and paste. So and most of that is caused by, the issue of not knowing themselves.
That's very powerful. Very, very, very empowering. I think getting to know who you are so that when you present yourself to the world, you are so unshakable and that nobody can influence who you are or tell you who you are in the world.
And remember, we are writing every day. You're writing your story here. So what I say about you really doesn't matter.
Mhm.
It's what you say about yourself that matters. So every day God is giving you a blank page.
Hmm.
This is a new page of my life. I'm here now. I've written something good.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guest down here. What is it that we have to offer today? So we need to constantly remind ourselves when we wake up in the morning. I was saying to a friend of mine yesterday that I'm a big fan of affirmations and declarations. When I jump out of bed, I say that this is the day that the Lord has made for me to rejoice and to have life
Yeah.
in abundance.
Yes.
And surely and indeed, I will have life, in abundance. Look, for every day it has been created by God.
Mm-hmm.
You might have a bad moment in a good day.
Sure.
So do not let that stain to spoil your whole entire day.
Yeah.
You must understand that the day is so good,
Mm.
but there are bad moments in a good day.
Yeah, there's 24 hours in a day, which might have a few bad minutes. That doesn't
Few bad minutes.
so bad.
So many of us would take that moment and will let it spread in your day.
Goodness.
So everything spoiled.
They ruminate on that one bad moment all day long.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Yeah. So that's about that. God is great at good days. God didn't create bad days, but the bad moments.
Yes.
In a good day, then we need to embrace still a good day that the Lord has given you.
Mhm. Like this day. Beautiful. That takes me into one of the final questions. When we spoke a lot about introspection, we spoke about standing firm in your identity,
Yeah.
we spoke about continuously evolving. And I want to find out from you because there must be days
Yeah.
we all experience bad moments.
Mm.
And when you've had a couple of bad moments throughout the day and you're feeling you get towards the end of the day or perhaps midday and you're feeling overwhelmed, overstimulated, and you're just feeling like, you know what, nothing's working out right now. Just right now, you feel like that. What do you do? Are there any practical steps or tools that you use to kind of ground yourself and just bring yourself back to who you are, who Ncedo is?
Yeah. I think the way that one present himself or herself is very much important.
Mm.
Over the years, I have learned to control myself. People
Self-control.
self control because sometimes it will take you to control you in order for you to control situation. So when I'm going through certain situations, I don't worry much about a situation.
Mm.
I worry much about myself.
Your reaction in that situation.
My reaction in that situation, you know,
Mm.
because I have learned to control myself. And now that I've learned to control myself, you know, I can compose myself.
You're very composed. Very. That is the composure.
I can compose myself. Now that I can compose myself, I would create a different impression. Not because of I'm not bothered, not because of I don't feel what I'm going through, but because of certain situations, you don't have to show a situation that you can feel this.
Yes.
You just have to develop a thick skin, not because of you are succumbing to a situation, not because of, you are enjoying the situation, but because of situations, it's just a moment. The minute you endure a situation, the more you are going to be able to overcome it. So controlling yourself is very much important. Composing yourself is very much important. And be still in whatever situation that you're going through. Do not allow it to intoxicate yourself.
Sure.
You know,
Spirit.
you must always try to be sober.
Southern mind.
Sober mind. Because many of us, now you get, you know, drunk by certain situation, you intoxicate yourself, with the situation, you can't think straight.
Easily influenced.
Because remember, at the end of the day, you still have to be accountable of yourself. You still have to be liable.
Yes.
You still have to be able to explain. You are not going to say that, no, I just couldn't think straight because when it's think straight in a situation, learn to be sober. Do not allow the situation to make you drunk. You know, Open your eyes wide if you can.
Yeah.
It's just a moment. It's just a moment and you can enjoy it.
That's incredibly yes.
Some people, they even take like permanent decision out of a temporal situation.
Sure.
It's just a temporal situation, and it's not time for you to make like permanent decision.
Yes.
If you can endure just for a minute, by the time you realize this will be over.
Yes.
So there are those moments in my life where sometimes I feel like I don't have what it takes, you know. But the minute I feel that way, then I remind myself of why. Remember, I made mention of like, you must even understand yourself in an extent of understanding your material.
Like that, you need to know yourself very intimately.
Yes.
Yes.
Constantly forge yourself, to be a weapon, that can be able to, you must always be ready. Yeah. You must always be ready for war.
To walk through the fire.
To walk through the fire every day, we are fighting, our own personal struggle, our own internal battles, your battle of mind, versus the battle of the heart. Have you ever, had that one?
Yes.
The battle of the mind versus
Oh my gosh.
the battle of the heart.
It is,
It's like, you have the internal war,
that's
you know.
called that internal struggle is insane.
Yeah, it's you fighting you.
Mm.
Because a part of you is telling you that you don't have to do it right today. And a part of you is telling you that I have to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
So what matters is the one that says that you have to do it right. So and also the nature and learn to embrace, you know, good people that the Lord has borrowed you,
Mm.
and understand that they're not gonna be around, forever. Make use of them if you can.
You've got a support system.
Yes, that support system, make use of them. I was telling a friend of mine, I was like, do you know that there are people, you know, who will call you or who reach out, when they have time. And those people are not important. And there are people who free their time to reach out.
Sure.
They're the very little friends. Those people like that very much important. Out of their busy schedule, they would still see a need.
Carve out some time.
That let me just reach out for 2 minutes. And their content as we are listening to them, something is changing you. But those, who are calling, you on their free time or who are reaching out on their free time,
They're just withdrawing.
listen to the content.
Sure.
They're time wasters that are wasting your time. You're on that phone maybe for about 2 hours. But when you are analyzing that content, it's like, what a waste of time. And those people, I have a secret for them. When they're calling you, just pick up the phone.
I, I'm stealing that one and I'm going to use it.
They're scared of people in a meeting. Yeah. Then do you then they'll be gone forever. They don't deserve a spot in your life, man. We need to be able to reserve, to preserve, certain sports for good people of value.
Use space.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, it's a daily exercise. We keep on cleaning, your room, you keep on changing things, yeah, so that you can have more space. Because one of the things that is actually killing us, we don't create enough space for certain things. When they come, we are full.
There's no space. Yes.
We are full. When good things coming, you are full. You don't have the space.
You have that capacity for it even.
If you're using that plasma and that plasma gets broken,
Mm.
and that is beyond repairs, the damage is beyond repairs, do not keep it there.
Yeah.
Pay it and throw it in the bin so that you can buy the new one and put it there.
Yes.
Life is about that. Sometimes you would still want to decorate with this thing that is beyond repairs. Beyond repairs, you still want to. No, it must stay there. It's got its sentimental value. I've been having this for 10 years. Now it doesn't deserve a rubbish bin. The minute, you get to hear that it's not fixable, take it and put it in the bin. That's where it belongs.
I think I actually heard that like in a service one day, the pastor actually spoke. Pastor spoke about that.
Oh, okay.
And he said, and that was actually a big lesson for me, and it's something I still carry every day. Um, is exactly that when you've got dead appliances, things that no longer serve you, let it go. And I think that is true for people
Yep.
and things, and that's the principle that it can be used in every area.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it brings me back to, and that analogy is something that I actually carry with my kids.
Yep.
So when I tell them, go and do that or go and fetch that for me,
Yeah.
and they've got something in their hands. I always tell them, if your hands are full, you're not going to be able to receive what you're supposed to be receiving on that end.
Powerful.
And that's something that they now will like,
Yeah.
okay, I've got something in my hand. Let me put it down so that you've got all the
Yeah.
capacity
Yeah.
to be able to do that next thing. So that's something like I should have broke it down into a little
Yeah. Yeah.
analogy for them. And I always tell them, you cannot approach a new task with full hands.
Yeah. Oh,
So that's something that I really try to teach them. So amazing.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm taking that. I mean, I'm taking that as the, like, yeah,
It's freeing up some space for new things.
you have some space,
Yeah.
man.
Yes. I
Yeah.
love that. All right. And I have a wild card question. It's not too wild, too crazy, but we spoke a lot about youth. We spoke a lot about our younger selves. We spoke a lot about the mindset and that shift.
Yeah.
And I want to know from you, you bump into your younger self, Adri. Uh, this version of you is a little lost. Not as he's feeling a little, probably already at a quit, throw the towel in. You've got one chance, one opportunity, one sentence. What do you tell him?
Yeah. You, no, that's a tough one because I have a lot of stuff, to tell.
No, you're so honest, you're whole, but like one sentence
Yeah.
is impactful.
One sentence, I would say, no matter how tough,
Mm.
it is, keep going.
That's as powerful as
Keep going, you know, keep going. And, I've learned something as I'm driving. You'd buy a car, that's got a full capacity of driving up to 218 kilometers per hour.
okay.
But the funny part of it, on the national road, the maximum speed is
Sure. 120?
120. If you're driving in places like Summer Strand, like on CBD, you drive on
Okay.
60, 60, 40. Then you ask yourself that why, these manufacturing companies are making, cars
Well,
that can reach 208. So we are being controlled, you know, by the road design. Sometimes it will tell you that it's 40,
yeah.
it's 60, you know, not because of you cannot drive, you know, that 280, but for the sake of your own safety
Mm-hmm. And those around in that area.
and those that are around that area. So then you need to adhere in as much as you have much capacity, but in certain areas you need to adhere as per what is required. So sometimes you have much to give, but you look, at the speed sign and it's like, oh God, it's 60 and they also, they have camera hidden around, especially in spaces that you're not familiar. Then you keep on adhering the speed.
Yes.
Then once you hit after that 120 kilometers, then you are endangering your life, and you're endangering, other people's lives, and, everybody's, lives at risk, including your life. You might not be able to make it alive. So that also speaks to us.
And informs how you drive the car, right? Mm-hmm. I love that. Incredible. Very powerful.
Yeah. So, I mean, we are learning on a daily basis, on different spaces. It's like, what is it? This thing, let me take it to me, you know, what message does it carry, just for me to be able to learn,
Yes.
certain things. We are buying these cars with big engines and all of that, not because of we want to drive it to the max, but sometimes, for the fact that you're being controlled,
Yeah.
by the speed limit. So whatever that you're doing, let's learn to doing it in moderation.
100%. Yes.
Yeah.
Super. Okay. Here at her mindset mentor, we believe that everyone has a mindset anchor,
Yeah.
either a phrase, a truth, or a reminder that just brings you back to center, that grounds you when life is a little busy and noisy. What's yours? I know you're a man of many quotes and Bible verses, so I'm super interested and so keen to hear what this one thing would be. Is there one specific one, or is there one that stands out?
Nothing's impossible to God. The sky is not the limit.
Love that so much.
Nothing is impossible unto him. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
We serve the God about the impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I run out of power, out of my, you know, capabilities, I constantly remind myself that I can do all things. All means all. All things. All means all. It does not mean that you won't feel the weight that you're lifting something, but it means that eventually you will overcome. Sometimes I always tell people that what we're lacking is the spirit of endurance.
Sure.
You need to endure. When you're in gym, your first day,
Yeah.
joy. It's like you're dying.
Burning it.
It's like you're dying because you're banning something. You're banning the fat. You're banning. Then on the second day, you would still feel the pain. Then I'll just endure for 2 weeks.
Yes.
Then afterwards, you're enjoying all these push-ups, all these, burpees and jump lunges and all of that. So life is about that. Sometimes you'd feel when you're about to lift something, you'd feel that this is too heavy and I do not have capacity to carry this. But the minute you endure, then you get to realize that this thing is going up, because nothing will ever change until you begin to make certain change. We have to change the narrative.
Yes.
Something will change,
Mm.
and change comes with growth.
Mm-hmm. And change starts with a man in the mirror.
Change starts a man in mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to constantly and remind ourselves about that the sky is not the limit. The sky is not we can go way beyond the skies.
Yes.
And you only get to realize that when you reach there, when you reach there in the sky, then it's like, oh, there's more.
Ah,
I can still go up.
mm-hmm.
But if you're down, you would think. I think that saying was said by someone, who was never
That's new.
up. It's like, yeah, the sky is the limit. But when you are flying and you get to realize when you're airborne, you get to realize, I can still go up.
Those actually.
I still go up, so the whole thing is endless. So push yourself, invest in yourself, make good investments for yourself, feel yourself, with positive energy, positive synergy, good people around you, good spaces and, environment, then that will shape your life, to the person that you want, to become.
Fabulous. I love that. So, thank you so much for sharing your story, for living it out loud, and for reminding us that leadership starts from the inside out. Yeah. And that legacy is built from one choice,
Yeah.
one challenge, and one chapter at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just those building blocks
Yeah.
and to continue moving through the journey of life. Yeah, thank you so much. I've had those.
Thanks to you. Thanks to you. Thank you for having me here. I had a wonderful time.
Any last words? Any final words?
Hmm. Yesterday is gone and tomorrow is not guaranteed.
Mm.
Live today as if it's the last day.
This is your corner of the internet where it's okay to be ambitious and anxious, powerful and uncertain, all at the same damn time. We don't do perfection here. We do progress, purpose, and a hell of a lot of passion. Until next time, keep leading, keep learning, and keep showing up like the bold, brilliant, beautiful human you are.